So with all these things being the case, what it does to a society at large, how it decreases your work ethic, it increases hypersexuality, it decreases your working memory, and then with stuff like that, how it can cause psychosis, things like that. And then you mentioned the spiritual aspect of not being in the present moment, not being able to, not dealing with your anxiety the right way, not facing resentments, forgiving, things like that. You're turning away from spirituality and going for a drug solution to your to the problems you're feeling, to the emotional problems. All those things being true, why on earth is it being pushed like it's the coolest thing ever that we all need?
Well, that's
it's been missing from all our lives.
That's the thing that concerns me.
Why? So I looked into it, and there's this. I hinted about it toward it at the beginning. There's this big, just like existed for tobacco, just like existed for alcohol. There's this sort of like, I don't know if you want to call it like big marijuana or big weed or whatever. I don't know what they're going to call it, but this giant corporate infrastructure has formed that has millions and millions of dollars behind it for lobbying the politicians, running the PR campaigns, doing all this to make it seem cool. That's what they're doing. They're making it seem cool, even though if you were just step back out of the context of our own situation, it's like, well, anything like this isn't cool. It's like for losers, basically, is what it is. And there are exceptions to the rule. Sorry, I like Joe Rogan. I don't like that he smokes weed all the time. But he's the exception. Okay, most marijuana users are not going to jump out of bed and do 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups, and 100 bodyweight squats before their workout in the morning. Right. Okay, that's what Joe Rogan does. Yeah. So you can't look at him. He's a very special case where I'm not saying it's good for him. I think it's bad for him. But you can't say this will be our country. Joe Rogan's fine, so we're going to be fine too. Yeah. He's a different type of person. Yeah. He's a very special breed of human. Right. That's not going to be the average weed smoker in our country. Yeah. And it isn't now. So I think it's a bad thing. But so I looked at this article from the Free Press the other day where they interviewed Alex Bruesewitz, I think's his name, or Bruesewitz. He's one of Trump's top guys. He's young too. I think he's either 30 or in his late 20s or something like that. So he's like one of these wunderkind type political strategists. Wunderkind. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Wunderkind. And he's like, oh, it's the so they quoted him saying it's the politically strategic thing to do. It's politically savvy, and there are all these great uses for it or something. He wasn't lauding it, but also he wasn't really condemning it. He was sort of saying that it's the right move. But they include in the article that his lobbying firm, his political strategy firm was paid $300,000 from pro marijuana groups. Right. So
he's a spokesman for them.
So he's getting money. He's getting money. Yeah. And he says, whatever Trump decides, I'm behind him 100%. It's the right decision. But I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, you're being paid tons of money to softly be pro. Like, that's what it is. Yeah. That's what it is. And I'm just not behind it. I think it's a terrible idea long term.
It just gives the idea that this is all doctor approved and medicine approves it, therefore I can do it.
They're lumping it in with this sort of health push that's been happening. It's very smart where it's like, okay, we're going back to low carb, high fat diet, animal fats, natural fats. What are some of the other things? Working out is good for you, keeps your testosterone levels up, gets sunlight in the morning, sunlight in the evening, sleep, make sure you sleep. So they're doing all these things that kind of have been eschewed in favor of pharmacology, in favor of drugs. And they're trying to slip marijuana in to say, oh, but this is actually the one drug that is good for you, that actually helps. They're trying to slip it in with all this sort of like, back to basics, MAHA, Make America Healthy Again thing. Yeah. They're trying to include marijuana in that. Yeah, right. It doesn't belong.
Yeah. No, it doesn't.
It doesn't belong.
It doesn't.
And there's millions of dollars behind it too.
Well, the thing is, what happens to a society, what happens to a country who anesthetizes their consciousness, and actually their own conscience with a drug?
How about China on opium?
In terms of, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And, or even a lot of the extinct civilizations. Yeah. Right? The Toltecs, the Mayans, they were all into that stuff.
Oh, yeah. They did a lot of stuff.
What happens to a society that that goes that way. They turn against God.
Normalizing drug use.
Normalizing, but it's not the drug use. It is the separation from God that they've engaged in first.
Okay.
And then the drug becomes the anesthetic to get rid of the pain of that. Germany. What about Germany in the 30s and the 40s?
Right, and that's true, but it can also go reverse, because somebody who is getting high is, everybody's going to have stress, everybody's going to feel resentment, everybody's going to judge, and then you have to recognize it, forgive, return to God, and become whole that way.
That is correct.
That's how to do it.
That is
you
correct.
can't do it if you're high all the time.
No, you can't.
So if you're born into an environment where getting high is normal, if you're born into a home that's filled with weed smoke and you're just secondhand high from, I don't know, 2-3 years old upward, what chance do you have? I mean, seriously.
Don't, because getting high is the actual process of turning away from God.
So what I'm saying is, it's not just that. I know what I'm saying is, well, yeah, I get what you're saying. It's not just having this problem and then seeking out the solution. I'm saying the solution itself is going to prevent people from going through that growth who might not even been that bad to begin with, but they're put in an environment where it gives them no chance of success.
Right.
So, and I mentioned China. China is, I don't know if you know this about China. Maine, which is only a few states away.
Yeah.
Maine has tons of illegal Chinese-run marijuana farms. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yes, because I think it's legal there, marijuana in general.
Yeah.
I don't know to what degree or what exactly the rules are. But Chinese companies have come in. They buy up houses, like domestic houses in neighborhoods, and they secretly convert them into Chinese marijuana grows, where
like greenhouses.
Yep, greenhouse, the whole thing. They do it all.
Right.
Where they grow it there and then ship it off, and it gets sold throughout the United States. And there are journalists who have done this. I forget. There's one in particular who's doing a good job with this. Who he's gone around interviewing these people, these families who live in the neighborhoods, and say, "Did you know you have an illegal Chinese marijuana grow next door?" And they go, "Oh my God, nobody's doing anything about it. We don't know what to do." They say it's usually the same story. I'm retelling the journalist's own story. Basically, it's like Chinese family knocked on the door around 2020, 2021. They said, "We're moving in. We've moved to America. We're starting a new life here. We're proud to be here. Just want to say hello, hi." They never see that family again. Trucks come in and out throughout the night. They see 10, 20 different people, all Chinese, coming in and out all the time. Loud noises, weird things happening. Shipments seem to be coming in and out.
Okay, so why don't they shut it down?
They don't shut it down.
But it's illegal.
The state government won't even acknowledge that it's happening.
Yeah, that's the problem.
They won't. And sometimes they bust them, and then a new one just pops back up like the next town over.
Right.
That's what's happening.
Right.
That's what's happening. So and marijuana is illegal in China. You cannot smoke marijuana in China. It's illegal. So it's illegal in China, and yet you have these illegal Chinese companies coming here to grow and sell it. Mm-hmm. So that should tell you, if you know anything, if you care at all about, world politics, whether marijuana is good or bad for a country, think, okay, China's outlawed it there, and they're sending it here.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's not so good for us.
No.
You know what I mean?
Well, that helps support the whole transition of the country, by having these states that are supporting these things. The state is supporting that.
What do you mean? What transition to what?
Well, the transition that we're talking about society becoming anesthetized.
Oh. Yeah, of course. I mean, okay, I'll just say it outright. China is trying to blunt us.
Yeah, right.
With chemicals. And they're sending marijuana here to do it.
Right.
While they're keeping it off their own talks.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
To talk about marijuana in the streets. Remember, I think didn't we go to New York one time, not that long ago? And the whole...
Yeah, we were in Manhattan.
Walking, I think we were going from Penn Station. We were going to the bank down there.
Yeah.
You walk through the streets. Everybody knows this. Everybody's aware of it. Everybody talks about it. But the point I want to make is the smell.
Yep.
The smell just gets into you, and that affects you the same way it's as if you're smoking it. So, you're not getting high.
Right.
No, you don't feel high. But if those molecules are traveling into your nostrils,
right,
and aside that, it smells bad. Some people think it smells good.
It is a public nuisance. That's the other major thing.
But I don't want my kids or my family or myself getting those molecules into the olfactory, up the nerve into the brain.
Yep.
And affecting, having that psychoactive effect on me, even if it's in a minuscule way. So no one has the right to do that to anybody else. But if they start normalizing this, which they have to quite some degree already, that is exactly what happens.
And that's the thing. Like if somebody's drunk in their own home, let's say a neighbor.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Okay. Yeah. If somebody's high in their home, you know they're high because your house begins to fill with the smell of their weed.
It has happened.
It is a total public nuisance.
Yeah.
That's the other debate that I think is just as legitimate as these other ones, is that it's a public nuisance. You can't make the whole environment around you stink.
Right.
You're not allowed to. You're not allowed to go out that way. You can't go out that way. And that is what New York smelled like. It smelled like piss and weed. Like every street. That's just what it smelled like in New York.
I know.
So that's New York City now.
Everybody's walking around anesthetized.